Hey everybody, welcome to the latest in the Innovators Series of interviews. I'm Steve McKenzie, the Chief Innovation Officer here at Momentus Technologies. And today we're going right to the other side of the world, in fact, to my birthplace, to New Zealand. And really, really happy to and excited to be speaking with Prue Daly, who is the General Manager of the brand new, newly opened New Zealand International Convention Centre, or NZ ICC, as we call it. So, Prue, thanks so much for joining us. And maybe if you want to give us a little bit of an intro and a bit of background.
Yeah, kia ora, Steve. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, look, I've been in the really privileged position to be able to open this brand new international convention centre for New Zealand as an Aussie, and so yeah, over the last 3 years, I've been in the GM role, making sure that we are ready for opening. But if I look back on my career, for me, I've always worked in hospitality. I've always worked in customer service. It's a real passion of mine. And coming out of uni, I was in a couple of the big hotel organisations, Accor and what was then Starwood. And then back in 2009, I got the opportunity to go and work for the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre, and that's where, for me, I think my passion, my realization that convention centres are such important assets and really great places to work all started. My background in the convention centre world is very much in that sales lens, and that's sort of where I started off. And I was with them for 7 years, 7 great years. I absolutely loved working with that venue. It was such a great learning opportunity for me, but also a great culture and a great team that I got to work with. And then back in 2016, which is quite some time ago, I got a little tap on the shoulder and got told about this new convention centre that was going to open in New Zealand and would I be really interested in coming and being part of that. And I guess those in our world know that pre-opening of convention centres don't happen very often. They're not every week, and it was just too good an opportunity to say no to. So I came across in 2016 to be Director of Sales and Marketing for the NZICC, and was in that role until I moved into the GM role. For those that are playing along and doing the calculations, you'll say, gosh, that's quite some time between joining the team and opening the convention centre. And it's probably fair to say we did not have a traditional journey to opening. We had a couple of builders delays quite early on in the piece, and then we had quite a significant fire on the construction site back in 2019, and that was some of the hardest times of my working career, having to navigate all of these unknowns and what it meant for us as a team, what it meant for our clients. It was a really challenging time, but the passion doesn't go away for what we were doing. And so to actually see the convention centre open in February, it was not only momentous for our team, but it was actually a really big deal for Auckland and New Zealand because we've been waiting for this building for a really, really long time. So I feel really privileged to have led that journey in the last few years and been part of it for several years now. And yeah, just really excited to finally be in the position to be sharing it with the world.
Yeah, there's certainly been some challenges along the way, that's for sure. And yeah, probably we could probably spend a whole hour just talking about some of those. But no, appreciate you giving that background and really great actually to see an Aussie working in New Zealand. That's usually the other way around, where the Kiwis go to Australia. So thanks for contributing to the growth in New Zealand by being there. Um, you touched on the fact that you just opened not that long ago, and I was very privileged to be there just after opening and for an event which was amazing. Still talking about it today, to be honest. But I'd say right now, you're probably the newest convention center in the world, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Um, yeah, how has that been for you? Like, and with hindsight being 2020, is there anything you would have done differently leading up to the opening? Besides obviously not having a fire. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think, if I talk about the pre-opening period, I had to quickly learn what was within my control and what was not within my control, and things that were out of my control, such as the fire and the impact that that was going to have on the bill. You know, you reflect back on that time and you think, would I have handled things differently? But actually, I think, we were pretty quick to realise best thing we could do was help our teams and help our customers navigate the tricky situation. That was within our control, but actually understanding what the building was doing at that time, that was not in my immediate control. So, of course, I would have loved a different journey to opening and it be really smooth. That was not within my control. I think now that we've opened the building, fundamentally, I don't think we would have changed a lot of the preparation work that we've done. We did have, more time than most to get ready, but also it meant that we worked with a much smaller team for a longer period of time, and we then, built the team up quite quickly in preparation for opening. So, but I think, while we might not have changed much in how we've opened the building, what we've learned since opening the building has been astronomical, and the amount of pre-planning that we did was huge, but probably was never going to prepare us for the amount of change, the amount of pivoting quickly, the amount of understanding what's not working and implementing change really quick. That's probably been the biggest learning for us as a team. And there are things that the building throws at you that, once again, out of your control. What's in your control is how you manage it, how you help your clients navigate it if it's impacting them as well. But what's definitely within our control is how we operate as a team. And, I've been really fortunate to have a fantastic team that is really passionate about doing an amazing job for our customers. And I think, we understand the need to move quick or to make change quick or to understand problems quick. And we've just had to do everything quickly, or as quickly as we possibly can. The other thing for me personally has been around progress and not perfection. So I'm a self-confessed perfectionist. I like things to be top-notch and really good, but that's just not possible. It's just not possible in an opening environment. There are things that are out of your control. So all we can ask is for progress, and if we're continually progressing and improving, then that's the best thing we can do. So there's probably not a huge amount that we would actually change. We were really fortunate that we got a solid test event period. That is something I would recommend to anyone who's opening a new venue. It allowed us to get a good amount of the bugs out. But I think for us as a team, it was, once we were actually delivering live events, you have to have a different mindset of being able to work quickly rather than, well, this is the way we planned it and that's how it's going to work. Doesn't work that way, and you've got to be able to move quick.
Yeah, no, totally true, and so true what you said about you can have all the plans and preparation in the world, but that still doesn't really help at the end of the day when you've got an opening right there and the building throws things at you that you just couldn't anticipate. So you've got to learn from that. So yeah, no, totally agree with you there. Look, as such a new building, what's your focus for NZ ICC as it's starting to find its place in the market? How are you trying to position yourselves?
I mean, we're not apologetic. We want to be the best of the best. We want to be number one. We want to be our client's choice. We know that, our clients and customers, they have choice where they go, whether they're looking at venues in New Zealand or whether they're looking at venues globally. And so we want to be their number one choice. To put ourselves in that position, we want them to, when they're dealing with us, whether that's pre-event or during the event, to go, that was just easy. It was just easy. They made it easy for us because that's the best thing we can do. It worked, it was really good, and it was easy. So for us to do that at the moment, it's all around consistency, confidence, and continuing to build on those relationships. And so, as you can imagine, since opening, we've been getting a lot of really constructive feedback, and we're being very purposeful in making sure that we get that feedback, because that is how we know where we are meeting expectations with our clients or where things are not quite right just yet. And we've got a full continuous improvement program that we run. And we regroup every week to look at all of the things that we know we need to improve on to meet expectations or even exceed expectations of our clients. So for us, it's all around getting that consistency and embedding our operations so that it becomes easy for us as a team and therefore is easy for our clients. And I think, once we embed that and once it's easy, then we naturally, hope to become the client's number one choice when they're looking at venues. So, and we've actually had a couple of clients come in twice already since opening, gave us really good feedback, constructive feedback from their first visit. We've checked in after their second visit, and they've noticed the improvements that have been made. So that's the best kind of feedback we can get, is that actually we see that you're listening to us, you're trying to improve. There are still things that are being worked on naturally, but actually for us it's all around embedding our operations to make sure that we're giving great experiences, and therefore when they have a choice of where they get to go, they come to us.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't believe you had return clients in 3 months. That's amazing. Well done. You must be doing something right, that's for sure. Hey, obviously, I want to just throw a question about technology out there. Obviously, you're a Momentus client. Thank you for that. But when we talk about technology in general, how do you think about technology from the point of view of the way you guys are using it today, and what you need to be thinking about for the future? Because we're all living in this world now where AI is getting thrown at us every single day, and all these other things. What are you guys thinking about when it comes to that sort of stuff?
I think I'd break technology and how we're thinking about it into two different categories. So one, we need to be on top of how our customers are using it and what they are looking at and what they're considering for the future as well, because it's really important that we understand what their needs are or where trends are going for them, so that we can, as a venue, be prepared. So in that aspect, super integral for us to be across that information and make sure that we're delivering what is needed. And then you look at it as how it's an enabler for us as a team to be better. So from a Momentus perspective, I've worked with Momentus both in Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre and in NZ ICC. The benefit of NZ ICC was we got to build the system from scratch. There was no legacy. And so I like to think that we have worked Momentus system really hard to our benefit to make it easy for our teams to get the information that they need. But also to look at the options of, well, what are the portals that we can use, and does that give a better experience for our clients? So I think we've constantly got to be challenging ourselves on, are we using the technology we've got the best we can? And if not, and if we're still asking for things that it's not delivering, then how do we make it work for us? It's got to be an enabler for us to be better. Interestingly, talking about AI, we're kicking off a bit of a project in the next few weeks. We're in a situation at the moment where we have loads of information that has come to us, building information, SOPs being written, guides on how-tos, all of our customer manuals. We've got loads and loads of information. And once again, unlike a pre-existing venue, we don't have a lot of legacy information. It's all new, it's accurate at the time. But we've got a team who's trying to digest all of this, learn all of this, and also be able to answer questions really quickly for our customers. So we're looking at a bit of a project around, how do we put all of the information that we've got or we've received from the builders or from the build team who have, been managing this process up until operations, put all of our operational information in there, and have an AI tool that allows us to disseminate and find information quickly that we need. So the team's really excited about that kicking off. And I think, for us, just even, first of all, if we can do it for our team, but, the idea is that hopefully in the future we could even have something that our customers can self-source information from, as long as we know that it's accurate. So, there's so much opportunity for us to use AI to help us be better, help us be quicker. And so I think for us as a team, it's just about constantly questioning that, is this working for us? Is it not? What else is happening? How can we make things better? What does that look like? While also making sure that we have the customer lens on, so we understand what's coming down the pipeline for us as venue.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's so timely that you just mentioned what, this project you're embarking on about putting all the policy procedures and that together for the team to have on one spot. I'm actually speaking at the EVANS conference next week in New Zealand, and my session is literally going to be about that: how a venue can put together an AI agent to consolidate information to share with everybody. So, yeah, exactly. I'm glad it's topical there. So I think it's something that a lot of venues are looking at doing too. Look, just to finish up, Prue,
Yeah.
one thing that really instantly resonated with me when I was visiting the venue a couple of months ago was the deep connection that NZ ICC has to the heritage and the cultural aspects of Aotearoa New Zealand. How important is that to you as you go to the market with that cultural connection?
It's fundamental to who we are and how we want to show up. Quite often we talk about how New Zealand's culture is our superpower on the global stage. It's what sets us apart from our competitor destinations. And I think for us at NZICC, we, from the very early days, felt like we had a responsibility to show up in the right way because we're welcoming so many international visitors into our country and into our venue. And while we want every international visitor to go and see the amazing New Zealand and go and see the countryside, we also know that that's not practical for a lot of the people that attend our conferences. And so if they walk within our building and we are the only experience that they're having of New Zealand, then that's a lot of responsibility for us to showcase the best of what that looks like. And so, whether that's through our food, through our beverage, through our team greeting everybody with kia ora, but the cultural connection is really important. So we were very lucky early on that we were able to connect with our local iwi, which is our local tribe here in Auckland, of the land that we sit on, and that's a Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei. And they've been step in step with us through the pre-opening program to help us understand how do we show up appropriately, safely, how do we represent New Zealand on a global stage in that way. They've been really instrumental to our success, and it's a great partnership that we've built. They've also been working alongside our clients. So when we've got international customers who are coming in, understandably, if you're not from New Zealand and you don't get to experience the culture every day, it can be really nerve-wracking on how do you do it in the right way or authentically, or, how do you be kept safe if you want to really embrace it as part of your event, but you don't know how. And so, we're very lucky that we have a gentleman that sits alongside us and Ngāti Whātua to help our clients really embed it into their conferences in an authentic and a safe way. So it's just become part of who we are as a team, what we're passionate about. And I think, those very early conversations around it being a responsibility to do the right thing and to make sure that we're showing up has really then embedded itself in so many decisions that we made in the pre-opening, whether that be marketing, whether that be food, whether that's how we greet people. It's really become a fundamental or a foundation for us on how we do things. So, and I think it's easy to do in New Zealand because it is very embraced here in the country, probably more so than I've experienced anywhere else. But certainly, it could be something that you could easily just go, yep, nice to do, probably should do it for events, but probably not something that, is fundamental to what we do. But that's not, in my opinion, that's just not the right thing. So doing the right thing was making sure that we really embedded it into everything. And, we've got some amazing artwork that's built in the building that is part of that storytelling. We've got a waka, which is a big Māori canoe within our building that is part of that storytelling. There are so many opportunities for us to share the amazing culture of New Zealand with our guests. And so we take that really seriously.
And I can say again from first-hand experience, you've done it very, very well. So really super impressive. And I know that the international folks I was there with at the time at the event I was at, they were gobsmacked at how embedded the culture was and what a meaningful impact it had on the event that we had there too. So So kudos to you guys for doing that. I think it's amazing, and I hope that it continues to resonate with everybody that comes. So, Prue, thanks again. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Lovely to chat as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you as you're out and about around the world somewhere, telling everybody what a great place New Zealand is and attracting more people there. Thanks again.
I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, Steve.